Now to our unprecedented look inside Foxconn.
More than 5 years since that initial groundbreaking, critics say years of failed promises. The company says it is committed to Wisconsin and allowed our cameras inside for the first time ever.
Welcome to Wisconsin Valley.
For 64 months,
as he helped break ground for Foxconn's massive new complex in Mount Pleasant.
Since the 2018 groundbreaking,
we can say the 8th wonder of the world.
Foxconn has remained a mystery.
A small assembly plant and then also some storage.
Until now.
Welcome everybody. Feel free to take a seat.
This is the first time
no pictures or videos on site
television cameras have ever been allowed in. As also, for the first time, students from the Racine Unified School District see a glimpse.
Nobody knows who Foxconn is, and that's why we're doing things like today, so you guys can see it. It's important for you to know what's in your community.
Suited up, tested for static.
Hey, come on through.
We enter the 300,000 square foot production facility in Mount Pleasant, making data servers for a high-profile worldwide client.
One of our policies is that we leave it to our customers' discretion as to whether or not to disclose the relationship that we have with them. So at this time, I'm not able to disclose who our customer is.
Numerous publications indicate that customer is Google. Where here in Wisconsin, Foxconn says 1,000 employees now work.
So come on in, we'll grab around right here. I want to show you what she's doing.
And where Upfront was granted unprecedented access to the high-tech manufacturing floor while agreeing to not show specific proprietary information.
Can you talk about how many data servers are coming out of here on a given day, week, month, or year?
So we're very excited about this facility, which stands at about 300,000 square feet. But for the specific volumes that are produced annually, that's a question that we would have to refer to customer to answer and to disclose.
Big picture, what is the future for Foxconn here in Wisconsin?
So the future for Foxconn in Wisconsin is to continue to do good business with what we're doing for our current customer for the production of data server. Grow that business with that customer in response to their market demand, and also explore different type of product lines for additional type customers in ways that we can make business work and succeed in Wisconsin.
In terms of what we just saw with Microsoft recently, is that more big picture what we can anticipate more new companies coming into this property that Foxconn at least once thought they may occupy?
The Microsoft deal is incredibly exciting, and Foxconn was proud to work with Microsoft and local units of government in order to find a deal based off a transaction and mechanics that now allows Microsoft to call an area of Mount Pleasant home. So as it pertains to any other future partnerships with non-Foxconn entities who may want to call this area of the park home, the company is open to discussions. It's just simply a matter of transactions, mechanics, weighed against potential opportunities, what Foxconn is currently doing here within our area of the park, and what our future plans are for the park in response to those market demands, and simply the company's perspective that this area of Wisconsin is a key strategic asset to respond to market demand.
This machine will build that or sub-assemble that piece so that way it's ready for us to install it into the unit.
The facility and operation is by all accounts impressive.
It is going to be our biggest producer in the next year. This place is going to get crazy in the next 6 months as far as volume.
But a far cry from the once promised 13,000 jobs and $10 billion investment. The manufacturing taking place in the much smaller of the two side-by-side buildings the Taiwan-based company built and has been adjusting to fill seemingly from the start.
What do you say to those when they look back at when this first started to where we are today, that this was all just a bunch of broken promises?
Market conditions have changed as to the original scope of what Foxconn wanted to do in 2017 and 2018. But what hasn't changed is Foxconn's continued efforts to find business opportunities that can succeed. So as the chairman and as Foxconn takes a look at opportunities in the United States, which is where we are and where we want to grow in response to those market opportunities, the company is taking a look at electric vehicle and electric vehicle related verticals and how they can apply at our various different campuses, which include also Wisconsin.
So that's still a possibility here?
It is a possibility as we weigh the economics, customer demand, and all the mechanics that go into making those types of production and operations successful.
Last year, Foxconn bought a plant in Lordstown, Ohio to build electric vehicles, a plan that has brought controversy, bankruptcy, and a lawsuit in and of itself. itself. In Wisconsin, the company will learn next month if it qualifies for a third year of tax credits as part of a renegotiated and dramatically smaller deal with the state when Governor Evers' administration took office. In it, the company projecting some 1,400 jobs by the end of 2025. The governor, Wednesday.
I think it was one of the best steps we made to renegotiate that to focus on the reality that exists down there. And so that's worked out. I think it's worked out all right for Foxconn too. Certainly it was oversold by the previous administration, and we needed it to renew and review that deal. And they have the deal that every other company has in the state of Wisconsin that has a deal from WEDC. So, and Microsoft is a huge addition down there, and I think we have good momentum going forward that we're going to be able to fill that land.
Assembly Speaker Robin Vos last month.
I think the best thing that we kind of keep reiterating, because Democrats have tried to obfuscate the truth, that under the original deal that we cut for Foxconn, not $1 of public subsidy went to the company unless they created the jobs. Governor Evers changed the deal, which has now resulted in them getting tens of millions of dollars of subsidy because of Governor Evers' actions. Okay, so that's a good thing because there are 1,000 people working at Foxconn right now. We know that the site has become one of the best in the entire country for new businesses to look at. So there are lots of exciting announcements that I think will happen in the next several years. But the new one we're already seeing with the Microsoft data center, that is fantastic for Wisconsin. It's going to be a huge revenue generator and good for the state.
Is the company a success?
Well, obviously, if you look nationwide and worldwide, it certainly is. Nowhere near as much as we had hoped. But I would say if they would have come and said we're bringing 1,000 jobs, people would have applauded that and said, how fantastic is that? They came in overpromised and under-delivered.
Here, inside the 100-foot globe that has come to represent the Foxconn project for both supporters and critics, a ground floor reception area and auditorium, and upper levels filled with offices and a data center.
And that's up and running.
That is up and running, yes. This is an active data center that we use internally for Foxconn purposes, not just for the campus here in Wisconsin, but other Foxconn campuses that have agreements with this specific data center to help support their manufacturing operations elsewhere in the world.
The school tour.
Young minds like yourselves to invent and innovate the next level of technologies that we need to move forward.
Perhaps another opening for Foxconn. The school district now pursuing a first and potentially long-term partnership with the potential for internships and jobs down the road.
It's like being at Willy Wonka in the chocolate factory. You really never get to go into the factories, and for them to let us in is pretty great.
So did this open the curtain a little bit?
It definitely did, and I think especially for the students, we try to say that we want students to start, stay, and succeed in Racine. That's what we're going to try to do here with them.
All right, this was an incredibly interesting look inside at where this massive project sits overall. The Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation says it will announce sometime in December whether Foxconn has met the state's latest requirements.
Yeah, pretty interesting. Thank you, Matt. Coming up, Brewers funding debate intensifying inside the debate in the Senate and the new revelations from the governor.